it's Javon Frazier, your guiding light, and I'm here today with something a little bit different. So, for the past year and a half, I have been a faithful commuter with Lyft, the transportation service, and in the past year and a half, I have found that has been like my favorite time of the day is my commute back and forth to work, because that's when I get to meet amazing people. And of course, me being the guiding light, people tell me their stories and I have to help them because that's what I do. So I decided to create a new segment called Give Your Life a Lift. Alright, so what is this? So basically, once a week, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to share my experience that, I have with the Lyft driver and tell you how I help them solve their problems. No one is on an island by themselves. If one person experiences something, chances are someone else has gone through it too. So my hope is that by sharing other people's story, that you will find a way to give your life a lift. This particular day, I met this amazing woman, and it actually, the way the conversation started, right? I was in a hurry, I was leaving work, and like when I'm in my car or the car, that's my time to transition from work mode into mommy mode. Now, to all the mothers out there, you know what I'm talking about. That's that little window that you have to give yourself to woosah and to prepare for whatever your kids are gonna throw at you, right? So typically, I either read while I'm in the car or I listen to music. This particular day, I was in a rush, I was in a hurry, because like not only was I running late, but my son, my 12-year-old son, had just found out that one of his classmates passed away of cancer. And so this was his first real encounter with death. And I really had to wrap my mind around what to say, how to help him, how to be there for him, right? And so honestly, I wasn't really in the guiding light mode. Like I wasn't in the mood to talk to anyone. I just wanted to put my music on and just figure out what to say to my baby, because my son was hurt and that's my baby, So I get in the car and this lady, she's driving, she's a nice lady. And normally I start off by saying, so how long have you, been driving with Lyft? And do you drive with both Lyft and Uber? Just because, making small talk. But this particular day, I was like, I just don't feel like talking. So I'm listening to my music. And she says, are you okay? And I'm like, honestly, no. I'm running late. And I'm just running down my list of everything that's wrong with me, right? And I said, and then to top it all off, my baby has just lost his friend to cancer and I don't know what to say to him. And I think the thing that was hurting me the most is that I help women everywhere, men and women. Like I say, my Lyft rides become like counseling sessions, right? They always tell me their stories. Everywhere I go, people are just telling me their life story, and I always find the right thing to say. So to not be able to find the words to help my child, my own flesh and blood, my baby, like that was really tricky for me. So I'm literally to tears as I'm talking to her, and she says, well, tell your son that your Lyft driver understands because I just buried my son 21 days ago. At that moment, nothing that I was going through mattered, because the way she said it, I felt her heart. I felt, I'm not gonna cry, I could not imagine having to bury my son. So I said, I'm sorry. I felt horrible for mentioning children. I felt horrible for being so self-centered that I didn't say my normal, hey, how are you today? So what's your name? So tell me about yourself. It was so much going through my head. But so I began talking to her, and I just was like, at first I apologized, and she's like, no, it's okay. And she starts talking, and she's sharing, that they don't know what happened. They're waiting on the autopsy, all of the details. And I said, well, what are you doing to handle it? She said, I drive Lyft. By getting you guys to your destination safe, I feel like I'm helping. I feel like I'm doing something right. She says, I haven't cried. I haven't, I didn't look at him in the casket. I didn't go to the funeral. And she says that everyone around her is blaming her for not grieving and for not wanting to see her baby in the casket. And I could relate to that on so many different levels. I've lost some of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and I have not gone to, I think I went to one of their funerals, because I just didn't want to remember my loved one like that. So I began to say to her, don't let anyone make you feel guilty for the way you process things. And so here's what I want to say about grief. And it doesn't matter if it's the loss of a loved one physically, the loss of something emotionally. Grief is grief. And they all talk about the different stages of grief. But what no one tells you about those stages is that they never happen in the same order. Never. So, there's what? Anger, there's denial, there's acceptance, and I can't think of them, but they don't happen in any certain order. It's the same thing with overcoming a trauma. You don't go through, it's not a set pattern. Okay, first you're going to feel this way, and then you're going to feel this way, and then you're going to feel this way. You have no idea how something is going to develop or unfold for you until you go through it. And you can't allow anyone to make you feel guilty because your process doesn't look like theirs. If you're in denial for a while, be in denial. If you accept it before you're angry, okay. If it takes you years and you don't have a moment, there's nothing wrong with you, and don't allow anyone else to make you feel bad for how you process your emotions. And that is the one message that I hope that I was able to give to her. If you can't accept it right now, and at the time of our encounter, it had only been 21 days since she lost her son. And people were making her feel a certain way because she wasn't, crying and broken, and she wouldn't look at the pictures. And grief looks different for everyone. Okay? It does not matter what type of grief you encounter. You will go through all of the stages at some point in time. That I do believe. But the order in which you experience the stages are not going to be the same. And that's okay. Because this is your journey. This is your process. And you have to live it. For years after I lost my mom, I was in denial. For years. For years, for her birthday, for the day that I got the phone call that she was in the hospital. It still was like I was waiting to wake up. For years. And she passed away in 2010. And I think maybe last year was the first time that I literally had a moment and I just smiled. And I was like, yep, years. When I lost one of my best friends, my son's godmother, her and her husband were killed together in a tornado. Anger for a long time. Then denial. Then acceptance. So again, you will experience the different emotions. You will go through the different phases, but there is no textbook way to handle grief. And how you choose to handle it is how you choose to handle it. And don't allow anyone to make you feel a certain kind of way. And don't you feel a certain kind of way. Don't be hard on yourself because your process doesn't look like everyone else's. So, I hope you have enjoyed this first episode of Give Your Life a Lift. And I want to hear from you. Has there ever been a time when you allowed others to make you feel bad, or you felt bad about not grieving a certain way? Are you currently in a stage of grief right now? Comment below. I want to hear from you. And as always, remember to discover your inner sparkle and let it shine, because the world is waiting on you to just be you. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. To learn more about Javon, visit www.javonafrazier.com. And also be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification button so you never miss another video.